So today, President-elect Trump was in attendance at the Army-Navy game. You'll love to see it. We'll show you some of those highlights, but we also got to discuss some of the underlying optics of the entire situation, because first and foremost, it's worth noting that virtually no Democrat politicians besides the governor of Maryland were in attendance, right? Joe Biden was not there. Kamala Harris was not there. They're supposedly the current presidential administration, and yet the commander-in-chief at one of the military's biggest events of the year, nowhere to be found. Why is that? We'll talk about that. But also the fact that Daniel Penny, the hero of New York City, was in attendance. He was invited as a special guest of JD Vance, and Trump decided to bring alongside him, sitting there in the booth, some of his more quote-unquote controversial, aka anti-establishment cabinet nominees. What does that mean? We'll talk about all of that and more. So folks, do us a big favor. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new. Help us hit our goal of 400,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And with that said, let's start here, because as they always say, show the crowd. They never show the crowd. Here was the crowd at the Army-Navy game. Right, so as you can obviously see, it shouldn't really be surprising, but President-elect Trump getting a pretty huge ovation from the members of our armed forces. This is despite the fact that the media spent the entirety of the closing election cycle talking about how Trump allegedly hates the soldiers, hates the vets. He called them suckers and losers, all these different hoaxes. Clearly, our service members don't really believe it, but that's not a surprise, okay? I don't believe that's even newsworthy. Of course, it was always full of crap. And, it is what it is.
He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up. Just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking, it's the same thing.
But with that said, okay, so who is in attendance and why does it matter? Well, first and foremost, I'll show you this photograph right here, and it really is awesome. As you can see, Daniel Penny right there alongside JD Vance and President-elect Trump. Vance personally apparently invited Penny to this event, and it really is something of a statement, right? It shows you how little we fear criticism from the media these days, because Daniel Penny is a man who obviously is a hero, but obviously is also going to be heavily slandered. And let me just also say, okay, I really do hope that some right-wing millionaire or billionaire out there takes care of Daniel Penny for the rest of his life, because we obviously know that he's never going to be able to get a normal job, okay? He's really never going to be able to go back to a normal life. You already have the father of Jordan Neely trying to press a civil lawsuit, right? Trying to sue Daniel Penny. It's never going to be normal for him, and I really think that people on our side need to take care of each other. I surely hope someone out there, maybe it's Trump himself, I don't know, but is taking care of Daniel Penny. But you certainly love to see that, and the left, to say the least, is not happy about that at all. They're posting all sorts of angry tweets about it, but it is what it is ultimately. Now here I want to read an interesting tweet from Heath Mayo, who is a big-time anti-Trump, like never Trump rhino guy, but he had a pretty interesting take on this, right? He says, why aren't top Democrats showing up to the Army-Navy game? As I pointed out, right, Joe Biden was not there. Kamala Harris was not there. Nobody was there besides the governor of Maryland, even just a few. Why isn't President Biden there? Well, again, interesting question. I don't know, right? Could it be because they don't really care about the armed forces? I don't know. That's a possibility. Could it also be because they're scared of getting booed in the building? I don't know. You tell me. I don't have the answer as to why Democrats, even when they're the sitting presidential administration, do not show up to the Army-Navy game. That's usually something you think the president would want to go to. It should be good optics. Why is it not for Biden? I don't know. Could the Gold Star families of Afghanistan have something to do with that? Again, you tell me. But anyways, he goes on to say, why let Trump and the clown caucus, funny terminology there, but he says, why let them continue to win these simple PR games? Just another example of how Dems lose. They need to start showing up. Well, Heath, I'm going to answer you that question. And as you saw in the 2024 campaign, they will not show up to any event that is not pre-coordinated or pre-planned, okay? Unfortunately, at a football game, you can't really pre-screen who's going to be there or who's going to show up. You can't just bust people in to go, yay, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. So I don't know, Heath. I'm just saying that might have something to do with it. Now, as I hinted at earlier, one Democrat did show up to attend, and it was not any type of prominent national person. We're not talking about Biden or Pelosi or Kamala, but apparently Maryland Democrat Governor Wes Moore was warmly greeting President Trump at the Army-Navy game. Now, it is kind of interesting to see. 5 seconds ago, I thought he was Hitler. He was the worst guy ever. And then suddenly, good to see you, Mr. President, shaking your hand. I don't know. In fairness, I don't know much about Wes Moore. I don't know if he was really the biggest, Trump deranged Democrat out there, but just kind of funny to see, right? So one Democrat is there. He's like, yeah, good to see you, Mr. President. Of course, the other Democrats, bitter about their election defeat or whatever it is, decided they did not want to show up. But that is what it is. Again, not really surprising the people. Here is what's interesting. Here's, I think, the most interesting thing of it all. So who was in attendance there alongside Trump? Okay, so first of all, in attendance were people like JD Vance, Elon Musk, House Speaker Mike Johnson, Vivek Ramaswamy was also there. Is that exactly super surprising or noteworthy? No. It seems like Elon in particular, for instance, has been following Trump around everywhere. Okay, he's basically living in Mar-a-Lago these days. Nothing notable to talk about there. First of all, though, here's who I do think is interesting. Pete Hegseth. Okay, so as you know, Pete Hegseth is the controversial, quote unquote, Trump nominee that is supposed to be running the Pentagon. And as you may have heard so far, it does not sound like he's having the easiest time necessarily being confirmed by the rhino senators in the GOP. And there's been a lot of talk that Trump is going to pull the nomination of Pete Hegseth very soon, right? Different outlets have been reporting that. So given that news and those rumors, it is kind of interesting to see that Pete Hegseth was in attendance alongside Donald Trump. And look at the positioning, right? Because the optics here do matter. Standing there right center stage alongside Trump and Vance. So what does that say to me? That says to me that at least at the current moment, Trump is confident in Hegseth. They're still trying to push him to be the nominee, the eventual confirmed cabinet pick there. And from that thus far, I see no indication that Trump is looking to pull the cabinet pick anytime soon. But that said, it is interesting because it was reported by, I forget the outlet now, I think it was the Wall Street Journal. Someone can correct me there, but there have been a lot of reports that Trump was considering replacing Pete Hegseth in that position by nominating Ron DeSantis. It was interesting. So Ron DeSantis was also in attendance at the Army-Navy game, but from all I've seen so far, it doesn't seem like he was there alongside Trump, right? It seemed like he was there on his own, doing his own thing. He's seen here on the field, still yet to see a picture of them actually side by side. So, the relationship there is a little bit awkward still. I'm not anti-DeSantis by any means, but just kind of an interesting note on those rumors. DeSantis was there, but he was not standing alongside Trump like Pete Hegseth was. So does that kind of push back on the rumors that Trump's going to replace Hegseth with DeSantis? It seems to me, yes, right? But honestly, who knows? We'll have to find out on that front. And the same can be said about Tulsi Gabbard, right? This week, it was reported by, I believe, The Hill, that Tulsi Gabbard was struggling to get nominations from these GOP senators. A lot of these rhinos are not super keen on voting for her. So as you can see, Trump is bringing Hegseth, bringing Gabbard to this event. Why? Well, first of all, obviously, they're both veterans of the military, so you could say that's common sense. But also, again, the politics is what? It's saying, look, this is my person. I want Hegseth. I want Tulsi Gabbard. I'm going to bring them along in my entourage to basically do a power move and say to people, no, this is my cabinet, and sending a message basically to the Rhino senators, you're not getting away with this. Right? I have full confidence in these picks. Stop trying to block them. At least to me, that is kind of the message that is being sent by especially these two people in particular. So anyways, just kind of interesting. Figured I'd share. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. Do you think that Hegseth is still full confidence going to be confirmed? Tulsi Gabbard, same thing. What do you think about that? Do you think Trump's trying to play a little bit of politics there? Let me know. Be sure, though, to leave a like on this video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.